Welcome to the tour of the Project Builder. We're going to show you how to make your own project on Workbench. You'll notice a few tabs across the top, which will take you to different parts of the project. We'll start in the first tab, where we enter the basic details such as a title, add a cover image, tags, any partner products we use for the project, and a short description. If a section has an asterisk, this means it's required. The other ones are optional and can be added to help other users find your project more easily. You can always go back to another section to edit anything in your project by just selecting the appropriate tab at the top of the builder. Next, let's add some details. This is where we will choose the range of grades that this project is appropriate for. So for example, if you're creating a project that is for your 4th grade class, a good grade range may be from 3rd to 5th grade. You can also add the duration, language, and any supplies that are needed to complete the project. These would be things like tape, construction paper, or paper clips. Education standards can be very helpful to teachers who are browsing projects on the platform, so be sure to add them to your project. You can search using the search bar and any keyword, or select some filters from the sections on the left. Just select which standard you want to add on the right and then hit the button at the top to add them to the project. The Project Builder makes it easy to add programming to your projects. By toggling this button on, the student will be able to open the project alongside the programming canvas to do some coding throughout the project. You can add a program that you've already created, or you can make it so the user has access to a blank programming canvas with their project. If you do have an existing program you want to add, a modal will appear with all your programs that you've created, which you can also find in your portfolio, and you can select the one you'd like to add. Now you're ready to start adding the steps of your project. First, you can give your step a title. Next, you can add any media that goes along with this particular step. You can use this button to add a YouTube link. The Add Media button will allow you to upload a photo or video from your computer. And the other option will allow you to add additional file types, such as a PDF or Word document. Now let's move on to the description. This is the main substance of the step. You can see the rich formatting options in the top menu. You can also use this space to give students links to articles that will help them complete the project, or even add a Google Drive file. You can do this by clicking on the Drive icon, signing into your account, and selecting the file you need. Instructor tips are only visible to those with an instructor account. Students will not be able to see these. After each step, there is an assessment, or a check for understanding. Workbench makes it easy to make sure your students are following along and learning as they go through the project. The default setting for the assessment type is a checkbox, which your students simply check to indicate that they've completed the step. But what if you need them to respond to an article, answer a math problem, or upload a photo of their work? We have all those options and more. Let's look at each option so you can choose the best one for each step in your project. Let's say you assign an art project to your students where they need to make a sketch of a family member. The image assessment type will allow them to upload an image of their completed sketch for you to see and verify that they completed the step. Multi-choice allows you to create a multiple-choice question. You can add more wrong answers to make the choice more difficult if you decide to. The free text assessment type can be used when there's perhaps no single right answer to the question you want to ask. Let's say you want your students to respond to an article and give their opinion of it. The free text option can be used here. Since the correct answer field is required, you can add any text here, but it is not necessary that your students answer it with this exact text. You can decide for yourself if the answer they provide is an acceptable one. The Google Drive file option allows your student to upload a file from their own drive. Perhaps the step requires that they make a spreadsheet of some data that they've collected. With this option, they can use Google Sheets to make their spreadsheet and upload it to the step. Lastly, there is a URL option. This allows your students to provide a link as their answer. Let's say your question asked the student to find an article about using drones in farming. This is the place for them to put the link to any article they find. Now you're done with the first step in your project. You can now move on to adding another step by selecting Add New Step, and another blank step will pop up right after the step you just completed. But what happens if you decide maybe step 2 fits better as step 1 of the project? Don't worry, you can change the step position of a step at any time. Notice now there is a new field above Title where you can change the position of the step. So even if you have 20 steps and maybe step 13 works better as step 5, you can change it using this drop-down menu. You can also remove a step at any time by selecting the Remove Step button. So now that you're done adding all the steps your project needs, you have a couple of options here at the bottom. The first one is Preview. This shows you how your project will appear to others viewing it once it's published. Your next option is Save as Draft. This means you can stop progress for now and come back to working on it later. You can find projects that you're still working on in the My Projects section of the Projects tab. Finally, you have the option to publish your project. You can publish it privately, which means that only your students and classes will be able to see it. It will not appear on the main projects page of the Workbench site. Or you can publish it publicly, which means that anyone and everyone on the Workbench site will be able to see it and complete it. That's it for our tour of the Project Builder.